When talking about New Hampshire, the first thing that might come to mind is its breathtaking natural beauty. Mount Washington, the tallest peak in the New England region, is a popular destination for hikers and outdoor enthusiasts. During the fall, the trees transform into a vibrant palette of colors, creating a mesmerizing autumn foliage display. The city of Portsmouth is another highlight, offering visitors a glimpse into its rich maritime history and stunning colonial architecture. New Hampshire is also known for its iconic state motto, "Live free or die," which captures the spirit of independence cherished by its residents. Adding to its charm are the picturesque lakes like Lake Winnipesaukee, perfect for sailing, fishing, and other recreational activities. It all sounds like an idyllic place to live, doesn't it? However, behind this natural splendor lies a darker side that concerns many of its residents. Issues like homelessness and a high crime rate are problems you should consider before deciding to visit or settle in this state. New Hampshire, a small state in the New England region of the northeastern United States, has a population of about 1.37 million people as of the 2020 census. It borders Massachusetts to the south, Vermont to the west, Maine to the east, and Quebec in Canada to the north. The state is renowned for its stunning natural landscapes, including vast forests, charming small towns, and popular destinations for skiing and hiking. Named after the Hampshire region in England, New Hampshire has a rich historical heritage. It boasts the first free public library in the United States, established in 1833, and holds the record for the highest wind speed ever recorded on Mount Washington at 231 miles per hour back in 1934. The state also plays a pivotal role in the U.S. presidential election process by being the first to hold a primary, a tradition that gives it significant influence in shaping national politics. Economically, New Hampshire has evolved over the years. Once dependent on traditional industries like textiles and manufacturing, it has transitioned to sectors such as real estate, professional services, and healthcare. In 2018, the state's gross domestic product reached $86 billion, with one of the highest median household incomes in the nation. Alongside its growing industries like machinery and plastic products, agriculture remains a vital contributor to its economy, particularly dairy farming, apple orchards, and egg production. Despite its picturesque charm, New Hampshire is grappling with a significant surge in homelessness in recent years. The latest counts reveal a staggering 52% increase in the homeless population since last year, with approximately 2,441 people lacking adequate shelter on a single night in January. A major driver of this crisis is the severe housing shortage, with a vacancy rate of less than 1%. This scarcity has made securing affordable housing nearly impossible, particularly for those in lower income brackets. The situation is further exacerbated by New Hampshire's harsh winters, characterized by heavy snow and freezing temperatures, which create life-threatening conditions for those without shelter. Economic instability and limited job opportunities in certain sectors add to the social challenges in the state. Many residents are forced to seek employment in neighboring states or rely on temporary contract jobs that fail to provide long-term financial security. This economic strain has pushed a significant portion of the population toward the brink of poverty, leaving them increasingly vulnerable to homelessness. According to data from New Hampshire Employment Security, the state's unemployment rate has remained steady at 2.6% since October 2023. As of March 2024, approximately 19,910 people were unemployed but actively seeking work. This marks a notable increase compared to March 2023, when the unemployment rate stood at 1.8%, with around 13,690 individuals out of work. The rising unemployment figures reflect deepening economic challenges, adding another layer to the state's pressing social issues.
You gotta make sure your tent is warm and safe from animals. A lot of people struggle and need help.
Although New Hampshire boasts relatively low rates of violent crime and property crime compared to other states, it is not entirely free from the influence of organized crime. Certain cities within the state continue to face challenges from criminal groups operating along border areas, engaging in illegal activities such as drug trafficking and underground gambling. Statistically, towns like Tilton report property crime rates that are 4 times higher than the state average. This is largely due to the influx of visitors, making these areas more susceptible to theft and other property-related offenses. Meanwhile, aggravated assault remains the most common form of violent crime in New Hampshire, although the rate is still lower than the national average. Since 1933, New Hampshire has relied on gambling as a means of generating revenue. This began with pari-mutuel betting and progressed to the launch of the first state lottery in the U.S. in 1964. Over the years, lottery proceeds have contributed more than $1.8 billion to educational programs. Other forms of gambling, such as bingo and poker, have also been authorized, with profits often allocated to charitable causes. However, a significant number of residents gamble online through illegal platforms, adding a darker dimension to the industry. While gambling has brought financial benefits to the state, it has also introduced serious social consequences. Cases of gambling addiction are on the rise, often accompanied by higher rates of crime, domestic violence, and even suicide. Gambling addiction frequently leads to severe financial distress, with individuals falling into crippling debt and, in extreme cases, losing their homes and other assets. Recognizing the severity of the issue, New Hampshire has enacted laws prohibiting the sale of property to settle gambling debts, highlighting the government's direct intervention in addressing this crisis. This creates a striking contrast with New Hampshire's Constitution, which emphasizes public morality and virtue, while the government continues to expand gambling initiatives. Although some of the revenue from gambling is allocated to addiction support programs, critics argue that this approach is contradictory and potentially harmful. Many residents are now questioning whether the state should continue to rely so heavily on gambling revenue, given its social costs. While some see the expansion of gambling as an economic opportunity, others believe it deviates from the values that New Hampshire holds dear, sparking ongoing debate about the true price of such policies. One of the darkest realities of New Hampshire is its severe opioid addiction crisis. The state ranks among the highest in opioid misuse across the United States, placing third behind Ohio and West Virginia. The year 2023 marked one of the deadliest periods in the state's history, with nearly 500 deaths from drug overdoses. This crisis stems largely from the overprescription of opioid medications initially intended to manage pain, which eventually led to widespread addiction. The impact has been devastating, affecting not only individuals, but also their families and entire communities. In response, the state has launched numerous initiatives, including a 15% reduction in opioid prescriptions in 2018 and the implementation of rehabilitation programs. Despite these efforts, progress has been slow as the crisis remains deeply ingrained in society.
Last month was our highest month with overdoses. We had 118 and we had 11 deaths. It's not really getting better. I think we're trying to tread some water here and do the best we can with the resources we have.
Amid its many challenges, New Hampshire is actively working to confront its darker side through various policies and programs. In tackling the opioid crisis, the government has imposed stricter regulations on prescription practices and allocated funds for rehabilitation initiatives. The state recently received $850,000 in federal funding to expand resources for the homeless and enhance housing assistance programs. However, for those considering moving to New Hampshire, it's essential to weigh the challenges that come with daily life here. The harsh winters pose one of the most significant obstacles. Heavy snowfall and biting cold, especially in cities like Concord and Manchester, can create hazardous road conditions and force schools and businesses to close. Residents must take extra precautions to ensure their homes and vehicles are prepared for months of unforgiving weather. The limited public transportation system adds another layer of difficulty, particularly for those living in rural areas. With restricted bus routes, such as in Nashua, many residents struggle with daily mobility, especially if they rely on public transit for work or other activities. Additionally, high property taxes present a financial burden for many residents. While New Hampshire does not impose a state income tax, the effective property tax rate of 1.77% is significantly above the national average, making homeownership an expensive proposition. The state's job market can also be challenging, especially in rural areas or specific sectors. Stable employment opportunities can be hard to come by, leaving some residents feeling financially insecure. Environmental factors add to the strain, as seasonal allergies from pollen, as well as threats from mosquitoes and ticks, make spring and fall particularly difficult times to navigate. While New Hampshire is celebrated for its natural beauty, tranquil lifestyle, and low crime rates, it is also a state with significant challenges. Issues such as homelessness, drug addiction, gambling-related social impacts, and a nightlife scene vulnerable to crime paint a more complex picture. The opioid crisis in particular has devastated many communities, and gambling expansion has brought with it severe social and financial consequences for individuals. For anyone considering moving to New Hampshire, it's crucial to think about both the positives and the drawbacks. This state offers stunning landscapes and a unique quality of life, but it also demands resilience and careful planning to navigate the difficulties that come with living here.